I used to work at a small hotel in my hometown, a place I really regret ever working at. The town was devastated by a huge hurricane a few months ago. Many houses were badly damaged, and most of the residents had to move elsewhere. The hotel where I worked was about a 20-minute walk from my house. I won't reveal the name of the town or hotel because I don't want to get involved. The hotel was a bed and breakfast with mediocre breakfast options like wet scrambled eggs, frozen sausages, and cereal. After the hurricane, the hotel was quite busy because many people had to stay temporarily due to damaged homes. But after that, the place became eerily quiet, even quieter than before the hurricane. I always worked the night shift from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Then someone else would come in and they would work until 10 or 11 the next morning. During my shift, I could tell how many people were staying at the hotel. There were only about 9 rooms occupied, which wasn't a lot, and sometimes I wouldn't see anyone all night. There was a small staff break room in the back of the hotel, which had a coffee maker, a refrigerator, a dining table, and a few sofas. The staff restroom was also located here. I would sit there at night and only go out when I heard the bell at the front desk. One night while I was sitting in the break room, I heard a voice calling from the lobby, a deep voice calling out, "Hello?" I got up, walked out of the break room, and saw a man standing on the other side of the glass of the front desk. He said he needed towels. I handed him some towels through the small slot under the glass. He took the towel rudely, then gave me a strange look before turning away and heading towards the hallway leading to the guest rooms. I sat down on the chair at the front desk and watched him through the camera screen. He walked down the hallway, looking around erratically, then started rubbing the towel on his face. I muttered, "What is he doing?" And he walked into the elevator. I went back to my room thinking it was over. About 10 minutes later, I heard the voice again from the lobby. The man was back. He shouted, "My room card is broken." I asked for his room number, but he answered with a strange room number with letters. I knew he was lying because hotel rooms only have numbers, not letters. I said to him, "Are you sure you're staying here?" His reaction made me shiver. He threw the towel on the ground, started smiling, and moved closer to the glass. As his face was almost pressed against the glass, he whispered, "I'm going to kill you." His creepy smile terrified me even more. Then he started shouting it, louder and louder, as if to drive me crazy. I yelled back, "I'm calling the police," and picked up the phone to call 911. He looked at me with a twisted smile, mocking me as I tried to explain the situation to the operator. After I told the operator he was leaving, they asked me if I needed the police, but I declined. For the rest of my shift, I decided to stay at the front desk instead of going back to my room. Around 2 a.m., my replacement arrived. I got out and started walking home. It was cold outside, and I remember wishing I had brought a coat. I picked up my pace as I walked through the parking lot and out of the hotel. On the deserted main road, I turned onto a residential street to head home. The silence was deafening. Only my footsteps could be heard. But then I heard another set of footsteps, soft but hurried. I turned and saw a car parked on the side of the road. I knew someone was hiding behind it. A small laugh was heard, and then a familiar voice said, "I'm going to kill you." It was him. I looked around trying to find a way out. I couldn't run fast in my work shoes. I saw a house nearby with the upstairs light still on. Someone was awake. I decided to run and ring the bell. As I was about to run, I saw him, his sinister face looming behind the car, slowly approaching me. I screamed and rushed toward the house, calling for help as I ran. When I got there, I rang the bell repeatedly. He grabbed me from behind, started choking me, and whispered in my ear, "Die." In that moment, I thought I had no way out. But as if by magic, the door opened. A man shouted, "Hey!" causing him to let go of my hand and run away. The kind man helped me up, took me inside, gave me water, and called the police. I told the police the whole story, and they collected data from the hotel security cameras. I was called to the police station to identify him in a lineup. But when I looked at each person, I couldn't identify him. To this day, I still don't know if I made a mistake, but hopefully that person is not out there, endangering anyone else. About 2 years ago, I experienced an incident that I will never forget the lesson I learned. It was in 2016 when I had just started a new job at a motel. Although the salary was not high, I needed an office job, and thanks to my friend Michael, I got this job. For the first few days, I trained with the boss in the morning and worked with Michael on the night shift. Our job was from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Nothing too special except receiving guests and doing paperwork. After a few days of training, the boss went on a week-long trip with his wife, so I had to work alone on my first night shift. I sat in an office surrounded by large glass windows, with a glass door in front and a security screen showing cameras all over the motel. Unlike most motels, this one doesn't have a security window to let in guests at night. Around 1 a.m., as I was checking in, a man walked in. He asked if there were any rooms available. Usually, if someone looked suspicious, the owner would tell me to lie and say there were no rooms available. But he seemed normal at the time, so I agreed to let him in. But as I was checking in, he started waving his arms in the air and making a spitting sound as if there were flies around. I tried to ignore him and finished checking him in as quickly as possible. Then I gave him the key and he left. A moment later, the man came back, banging on the glass door, startling me. He stared at me, his eyes burning. He opened the door slightly and said, "Why won't you let me in? Why won't you let me in my room?" I tried to stay calm and politely replied, "Maybe your key is broken. Let me give you another one." His eyes were full of menace at that moment, making me feel like I was in real danger. I gave him the new key and he left again. I tried texting Michael for advice, but since it was the middle of the night, he didn't answer. I started to panic when I saw the man come back again. This time I ran into the back office and locked the door. I pulled out a small knife from my pocket, ready if the situation got worse. He started yelling in the office, calling out, "Hello! Hello! Why won't you let me in? Don't you like me?" I was really scared but didn't have the courage to call the police. I stupidly replied, "I'm on the phone. I'll be right out." After that, I tried calling Michael several times, but no one answered. I took a deep breath and decided to leave the office. But the man was no longer there. He was in the bathroom, muttering angrily, "Kill her! Kill her!" My heart almost stopped. I was still stupid enough not to call the police, but decided to confront him. I said, "Your key is broken. Let me show you to your room." Luckily, he agreed. I hid the knife in my sleeve as I walked out, trying to walk ahead of him, but he insisted on following me. We went up the stairs. I was constantly worried that he would attack from behind. When I reached the door of the room, I said, "This is your room," but he was standing in front of the door of another guest, a lone woman. I smiled awkwardly and pointed to his room, and after he went in, I quickly ran back to the office and locked the door. Soon after, I received the next guest, and it was a policeman. I told him about the man, and he promised to keep an eye out. The next night, the man came back, but I locked the door and said there were no more rooms available. When the boss came back, I told him the whole story, but he didn't take it seriously. I continued working there for another year and experienced many other strange things, but that was the most horrible experience.